Hi, and welcome to TV My Husband Hates. I'm Kat Sims.
And I'm Reagan Kempton.
And we are reality TV addicts.
Addicts, aficionados.
Ooh, I like that. Experts.
Experts.
Basically, we know our shit when it comes to reality TV.
100%. Hello, and welcome to another episode of TV My Husband Hates. How are you doing, Miss Cat?
I'm okay. I'm a little bit stressed today just because, it's like everything always I had a really easy week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it didn't feel too stressful. And then today it's like everything needed to happen today. So, and of course I'd left watching all the shows until today.
Right.
Because I've been obsessed with 90 Day Fiance. So essentially I'm all right. I'm just running on a wing and a prayer.
Excellent. Well, that's how we do our best shows anyways. I have moved on to 90 Day Fiance the other way, where people go to other countries to marry people.
Oh.
Super fascinating.
And is it good?
Oh, it is. There's an Indian guy who moves over this woman named Jenny, who's 60 and he is 30, but it turns out he's already married. So the whole families have busted into the apartment. They've alerted the Indian officials. It's very exciting.
Holy shitballs, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, go check it out. But other than that, my week has just been house stuff. It's really ramping up. I think we're going to actually be able to move out of the basement by the end of the month.
I know you sent me pictures. It looks so spectacular. I can't wait to come and see it.
So excited.
I am also worth noting here without Jimmy because he's on tour. So the kids are downstairs. I've stuffed them full of McDonald's. Before you get in touch, Karen, they have it once a month. It's fine.
Dude.
And they got it actually because Billy got 10 out of 10 in her spellings today. And she's been working really hard at this new school and they're really pushing her. And she's been finding it a struggle. So she's so pleased with herself. She nailed it. So they're downstairs by themselves with the TV digital nanny. And if they interrupt us, I can only apologize. But you're just going to have to
it's just the way it is.
It out.
See, every Friday we do
Just
pizza. So, my kids eat pizza 4 nights a month. They eat fast food other nights a month. There's no apologizing needed.
And they had a fish finger sandwich last night for dinner. So I'm really nailing the parenting.
100%. Hey, if they're fed, happy, and alive, you're nailing parenting.
All of those things are true.
Yeah.
So we are adding in a new show this week, which is exciting because The Hills New Beginning season 2 is landed.
Oh.
Now, if you are in the UK and doing a little happy dance, I'm afraid I'm going to piss on your chips a little bit because I managed to watch it on YouTube, but it was really crappy. It wasn't the full experience. I don't know where we can actually properly stream it yet, but I'm making it my mission to find out.
Awesome. Well, it's on MTV, if that helps. That's the channel, obviously. So if there's a Now or Hey You
it's not on Now, it's not on Hey You, It's not on Prime, it's at the moment nowhere. It's nowhere. So and I did go to MTV, but it said it wouldn't let me watch them. So either way, it's there. You have to dig a little bit, but it's worth it because actually I really enjoyed seeing these guys come back.
Oh my gosh. So in preparation for the new Hills, and basically because I've watched every TV show known to man, I have gone back and started rewatching the Hills, and it is so fucking enlightening to go back and watch it again and actually remind yourself what these people were like a million years ago. It's hilarious.
I love that you kept texting me going, who the fuck let Lauren give up a Vogue internship for a boyfriend?
For fucking Jason. Jason, who is now on the new one, it was fucking him. And I was like, who is in this girl's life that was like, yeah, you totally need to blow off Paris for an entire summer to hang out with this dude in Malibu?
This drunk and alcoholic dude.
For
at
sure.
The time
they broke up
Malibu.
2 weeks after she did that too. And she was like, it was such a bomb. It was like, yeah, because you made the fucking wrong decision, Lauren. What the fuck? Honestly. And then Spencer is dating Audrina and Heidi at the same time. Totally forgot about that. And lying to them about it both. It's hot shit,
also,
man.
I just don't. I mean, listen, I'm here for Spencer. We're going to talk about it. But Audrina and Heidi are both off the scale hot. And I don't understand what his appeal is.
Well, I think I texted this to you. What the fuck is happening in LA where women are fighting over Spencer? I mean, Brody, I can understand. Brody's hot. He may be a douche,
Me
but
too.
he's so fucking hot.
God, he gives me the
And
fanny flutters.
always has always been hot. Like even these old hills, it's like, yep, you still would. But no, the girls are fighting over Spencer, not Brody. It makes no fucking sense to me. Anyways, we'll talk about this more later.
We'll get into that, but for now, let's kick off with Below Deck Sailing Yacht, where the firework. I mean, it's like a fucking high school disco dance. I can't even with this lot. I can't.
You've
they
nailed
just
it.
Need to stop.
You have absolutely nailed it. It is exactly like a school disco where people are crying, people are mad because other people are making out. Some people are fucking hammered. Some people are completely sober. And it's just like,
There's messages and little cliques and conversations and mixing and all the rest of it. And I am so over the bullshit. And it feels a bit like I'm not watching Below Deck Sailing Yacht and I've got two young children screaming and shouting and being dicks to each other. And then I am watching Below Deck Sailing Yacht and I've got like 8 children screaming and shouting and being dicks to each other.
I think the only person that I can identify with is Colin in this whole situation. He just finds it hilarious.
Yeah.
And like, it's just
because
chilling.
he's step out, isn't he? Because he's just like, I've got a girlfriend. I'm not getting involved. I'm just going to sit here and eat my popcorn and watch the fucking show unfold.
For sure. Well, and he's not really a part of either of their departments either because he's an engineer. So he can be removed from all of this because none of this really affects his work. Like he just has to make sure everything on the boat's going well. So he's got his work.
We do have Sydney crying again. We've got Ali trying to make her like the fact that her and Gary are together, which she's not going to do. Like, just get on with it. Stop.
And that's okay.
The Sydney bear. Yes, it's fine. Jesus, you don't need it to be. Anyway.
I feel like both things can be true. Sydney cannot give a fuck about your new relationship and be upset that whatever happened between her and Gary didn't happen. But like, she can do both. Just leave her the fuck alone.
I know.
Like,
I mean,
stop.
and I'm no Sydney fan. We're no Sydney fans, but I'm like, Gary and Ali now, you just have to move on. Go be together. Be nice.
For sure.
Sydney's dealing with it in her own fucking way. Let's stop making this a thing and stop putting her on the spot and trying to make her say, yes, it's fine. You have my blessing. You don't need to have her blessing. Just fucking move on.
No, but then Sydney spills the beans that she and Gary fucked, which I kind of like, how did nobody know that?
Well, I forgot that nobody knew that. Like, I forgot that the line had been, "Oh no, we just cuddled."
That's bullshit, though. Like, come on.
But for the first time, for the first time, Sydney confirms it, right? And she's like, "No, we fucked." Oh, did I say that? Oh, fuck off. Anyway, she did. She throws it in, and the next day, Daisy tells Ali about that whole thing, and Ali's like. And I suppose in some ways that does go to explaining why Sydney has been so triggered by it, because it is a different thing. Like it fucking is a different thing, even though he was very clear that it was a one night stand. We've all been there. Like I get that, and I still stand by that. But it is different when you've slept with somebody to like having a snog and a cuddle.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I mean, I think Ali's probably been like, why the fuck is Sydney so crazy? I mean, we think she's crazy anyways, but like she's like, oh shit, now I understand. I understand why she's so upset about all this. But I also think Ali needs to just let it fucking go. Like, who cares?
Fucking go. Who gives a shit, right? Like,
yeah.
And Daisy, I really appreciate Daisy's take on this because I feel like Daisy's been the Sydney, although I suspect she handled it with a significant more amount of grace and dignity.
Right.
But she's been that Sydney where she's been dumped for somebody else, like a close friend or, and that is a horrible feeling.
For sure.
Like that does trigger some shit. It is like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? So, and if you're living in very enclosed spaces, and I can understand how this has been hard for Sydney. Do I think that she's handled it brilliantly? Absolutely not. Like she could have gone 2 ways. One was an all right way and one was the batshit way. She chose the batshit way. But essentially, it's all starting to make a bit more sense. But now I think we need to move on. I do not want this to carry on anymore.
No, I'm done. I'm done with the storyline. Like we're all caught up. It doesn't need to be discussed anymore.
Let's move on to the PDA issue briefly. I mean, by the way, this looks like a great day off.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like this is the first time we've seen like a captain get them a boat and like really like give them a day. I mean, I guess they can't really go to a beach club this time. Because I think that's what they normally do. But I think this is a clever way around that. And my God, of course they need a time off. But I feel like they also need time away from each other. I think that's what we're gonna see more and more. Like, I am fucking over these people. I'm tired of being close to them. It's how we all felt, when we were in our various stages of lockdown.
The problem is though, is that some of them appeared to be like attached like Velcro, and Danny and JL, like whoever said it, and I can't remember who it is, but they were right. Danny can do so much better than JL.
For sure. I think it was Sydney. She was talking a lot of shit about JL, which kind of felt like came out of like nowhere. Like, well, do you want to be with Danny? Like,
I feel like she's now just on like a self-destructive mission. She doesn't give a fuck now. She's like, I'm
gonna
out,
watch it burn.
I'm just gonna drop all the fucking tea, sit back and watch the whole shit show burn to the ground. That's where I think Sydney is. But I don't think she's wrong. I think that this JL Danny thing, as much as it was fun, now that it looks like it's slipping into sort of relationship territory, I just think Danny can do better.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. There's a reason she's choosing him. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think probably my outlook is a little bit colored by the fact that she may be having his baby. So like part of me is like, well, I hope like it does work out because, that's what you hope for people, but I don't fucking know. I do disagree with Natasha making PDA such a fucking big deal though. It's like, can you just grow up? Like, I don't know.
I don't mind PDA. I do think it is a bit. I mean, the way it's edited makes it look like they're literally sat right next to like a full-on snogging session. Like, I'm here for like a kiss, but it looks like they're sat there sucking face for like 10 minutes while you're sat.
Yeah,
right next
I just remember though. I remember when I was like 20 and fucking all hormoned up and drunk. I totally did that shit. Like, it's not like these are 40-year-olds doing this stuff.
No. You're right.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I don't know. I think I'm sort of with Natasha on this. I sort of feel like it's kind of a socially cool thing to hang out with. If you want to go and suck face, go somewhere else and suck face. But if you're all sat around in a circle having a chat and four of you are like attached to each other, I just think it's a bit weird. But who am I to say? Maybe I'm just a bit more prudish.
Maybe.
It's not something I'm often accused of, to be fair.
Yeah, see, and I felt where Natasha was coming from, it's more of like a judgy, prudish thing versus just an inconvenient, like, this is kind of weird. Like, that's where I meant. Like, I think that's where it's coming from with her in particular.
Oh, on that, I can definitely agree. Okay. I think she's jealous, like, kind of prudy, judgy little cowbag, 100%. I think our motivations are different. I would just rather sit and have a chat with somebody rather than watch them suck somebody else's face off. But essentially, I'm never going to come down on the side of crazy Natasha. Let's go there. The other thing that I think we're going to get more on next week, of course, is a clusterfuck that is docking boats this episode.
Shit, I don't know. And it looks like it's far worse next episode. And like the boat, well, obviously the boat dies because they like take it off the port power. But it's just like, holy shit, it was very exciting. I feel like that's been the most exciting season for the deck ever. The deck.
Well, honestly, like apart from when Ashton nearly died, that was pretty exciting.
That's true. But I think we've got more,
it's up there.
There's more instances of exciting dock stuff. Or deck emergencies.
And Gary saved the day by getting the generator up and running just in time. But it's the crash that we see at the end that really looks like it's not good. I mean that breaks the dock. It breaks the concrete dock.
Yeah, and the fucking boat, I'm sure, is fucked.
I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the end.
Maybe that's just the end of the show.
Maybe like, we'll not get a boat anymore. Yeah. I mean, I'm not joking.
I mean, you can't get like a replacement yacht, like, because they've already had to replace the little boat. Then they had to call in a replacement when the British people were there. Yeah. The Tinder.
No, man. Tender.
The
We
tender.
get there in the end.
Yeah.
Not
Tinder's
Tinder.
swiping.
Not Charter. Oh man, that's a whole different sea full of fish. Anyway, we'll see what happens, but it's the first time that we have seen Glenn super fucking rattled and fucked off.
Yes.
Like this is not a small thing. This is a big thing.
No, I think it's the first time we've seen a boat crash on Below Deck. Full stop.
Yeah. To that extent, for sure. That's like we've never seen anything like that. Well, we'll just have to see what happens next week. Maybe this is how they're going to wrap it up.
Maybe.
Alrighty then, let's move on to the next show on the list, which is of course Real Housewives of New York, episode 2. And how are we feeling about the newest member on the block so far?
I'm still down with Ebony. I kind of feel like maybe we just need to cast this whole show with people that Leah knows.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's ace. And I think she's part of me feels like she's falling into a little bit of a false sense of security. But you know, I really hope that she stays, that she doesn't get beaten down by them. And for now, I'm loving her energy and her approach.
Yeah, I agree on all of this. I love how she kind of calls out Ramona's fakeness to Leah as well, because that kind of shows me like she's on the lookout.
Yeah,
for some of this. So she's not totally drinking the Kool-Aid, but you know, we'll see how that goes.
No, but she's getting comfortable. She's open-minded, but she's also skeptical, and it's a perfect place to be. I also really appreciate her approach to stuff. Like I feel like she's very normal in a lot of ways. I really enjoyed her conversation about her old relationship and how at the end of the day he chose family and that didn't include her, and that was very telling. And I thought, God, you know what, there's probably so many relationships that went the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting.
For sure. We see Sonia have a healer at her house that really broke through her financial issues and lack of stability in her life.
I mean, I'm pleased to see Sonia attacking the issue that
Also, if you want to rewatch The Hills with some commentary, Whitney Port and her husband are on YouTube watching The Hills, commenting on what they're seeing. So if you need like a better even deep dive than that, you can catch that. I think it's on YouTube. I'll look for it and I'll put like the link in the show notes for this episode if you guys are into it. But
amazing. I had no idea that was going on.
It's incredible. All right.
Let's wrap up with keeping up with the Kardashians. I mean, it is what it is. Let's talk about the surrogacy. I'm still not feeling this season.
I'm not either, but I will say this one I just got on board with. Like, I'm just putting everything aside and just getting on board with the bullshit that is this fucking season garbage show. Yeah, so I wrote down, I mean, I think it's really interesting, Khloe going through this like surrogacy issue. Like, I think she's way too much of a control freak to have a surrogate pregnancy.
You took the words out of my mouth. I agree. I think she's like, I really respond to Kim's approach to things like that. I'm a big control freak in a lot of ways, but when it comes to stuff like that, I really am like, you know what, fine, just you'll be fine.
They're the professionals. I just want to let them have it. We don't need to have a relationship. I'll just pick up the baby at the end of the day. I love how Kim has actually become less controlling as she's got fucking shitloads of kids. Like, you can't control shit with that many children.
Kanye. Let's not forget she's been living with him.
For sure. I like a more chilled out Kim. I think you and I are very similar. Like, we're very type A about a lot of things in life, but like where there's professionals telling me what to do, I completely check out. And I'm like, oh, they've told me to do this. This is what I'm doing. It's fine.
Me too. I love nothing more. Like, I find relief in that.
Me too.
You spend so long like being one making all the decisions that when there's an expert going, let's do this, I'm like, fine, got it.
Done.
Jimmy's like, we need a second opinion. I'm like, no, we don't. It's done.
I don't have time for a second opinion. We're just going to go with this person who tells me to do this. But
me too.
Yeah. I just can't. I can't get too in these details in the weeds.
But also, I do think it's interesting to have this conversation about how it's their baby, but the surrogate's body. And it's like, okay, that's fine. And it kind of really sends Khloe off the deep end. But my first thought when I heard that was, well, I would just turn around to Tristan and be like, well, this is a conversation we have to have with the surrogate. And maybe we can get it in writing when we do the contracts that, like, is she okay to deal with multiples if that's what happens? Like,
spot on.
This doesn't need to be an issue.
No, and I don't think it is an issue. I think that is, like, when you're interviewing surrogates, surely that's a question that you ask. Like, come on.
100%. I think Khloe just needs to chill out a bit, because you can't go through this process and micromanage everything.
No, girlfriend, especially when your man is given the D to other people.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe that's just put an end to it all. God, I hope so.
But now she's got these embryos, like, that are all ready to go because they made embryos with, like, him and her. So it's like, would she still, like, do the surrogacy even if she's not with him? Like, how does that work? Because she's always said, like, even if they weren't together, she would want to use his sperm so that they're like true siblings.
Well, but then what happens if she's pregnant with this guy's baby that now is cheated on her again, and then she meets somebody else who, like, truly loves her, and then she's got to have this baby with this guy?
She can't keep making embryos. Like, there's a point where she's not making any more eggs anymore.
Well, and sometimes you just don't get what you want. Like, sure. I don't mean to. Sometimes you just can't keep making babies. Regardless of the fucking circumstances.
Some people can't even make one baby, and they can't afford to have surrogacy. They can't do all this shit. So sometimes you just have to process what you're dealt and move the fuck on. Yeah. For sure.
Maybe true, is it? Maybe that's all you get.
Yeah.
Agreed. I have to say, I'm really feeling for Scott at the moment, and I think this is actually a really serious issue that I want them, and I do think they are taking it seriously, but I think it needs to be taken seriously because he's been abandoned in some way, shape, or form by every member of his family, and I don't want them to forget that the fact that they've grown up in this close-knit, fully supportive is going to give them a privilege of security that he doesn't have.
Well, for sure. And I mean, he's not married to Courtney. Like, really, like, there's not a lot of families that continue having relationships with the baby daddy when the lady has moved on, you know? And I think it's a real issue. And what I think is interesting about Scott is he's not only worried about, like, those relationships, he's worried about himself because he knows he doesn't handle change well. And part of me wonders if this is why we're seeing him with, like, super young fucking Amelia with like a bajillion different hair colors. And like, I feel like he is in real life gone off the deep end since the show has stopped and Courtney is now with Travis.
Agreed. And I think that this is a lot for him. And I love that Chris, and I trust Chris, that she does think of Scott as a son, but there's only so much that she can do. At the end of the day, he has to take responsibility for this shit himself. And it's not easy. And I love him. I've got all the love in the world for him. And I just want him to find somebody that actually loves him back.
Well, and I wonder if some of these things are the things Courtney alludes to when she's like, you still haven't done some of the work that I've asked you to do. That's why we're not together. And I wonder if it's some of these kind of things, like he can't, because like, as he mentioned in the pandemic, he had to go check himself into someplace because he couldn't handle it. And I think those are real red flags for her, as they should be.
Yeah, but I think maybe that's just who he is, right? There are some people that just can't cope, and it's not necessarily a red flag in that he's a bad guy. It's just that maybe he's not the guy for her.
No, but I think it's a red flag in their relationship.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
100%.
I feel like these are the things that she's been alluding to that she's asked him to work on that he still hasn't done. And maybe he just can't, and that's fine. Yeah. But it's not right for her. Because somebody always has to be the grown-up in that, right? Like, I'm not trying to diss Scott and, like, him not being able to handle this, but there always will have to be somebody that's the grown-up and has to keep things steady for those kids and him. And that's a lot to be.
It is. And there will be a woman that's prepared to do it, that wants that's what she thrives on.
Maybe.
And that's it. But I don't think it's Courtney anymore. No. And I think maybe that's where it's not a fixable thing. This is who Scott is. He's always going to go off the deep end every now and again. And she's just not the woman to deal with that shit anymore.
Yeah, doesn't want to do it anymore.
Can't blame her.
No, not at all. We also see Kanye on the ballot. He's on the ballot in California. We see Chris looking over her election thing. He was on the ballot here in Colorado. I did not vote for him.
Thank God.
We've already had one clown in office. We don't need another.
No, that's true. And then we've got Nori's Black Book as well, which is hilarious. This is when I'm really on board with Kim at the moment. Like, it's about the control thing. Like, this would have been something that maybe earlier Kim would have like really taken to court and fucked off. But actually, she embraces it. She loves it. I love this. I love it. And it's a great account.
It's hilarious. It's grown. It's now over 1 million people since the episode came out. I looked at her following numbers, but it should be. It's clever. It's hilarious. I'm here for it. I've started following. I'm one of those 1 million now.
I will be after this episode. I'm going to go
put the link to that too in the show notes.
Yeah, let's do that. So that wraps us up for this week.
That is. I want to do a really quick reminder. We'll be adding the Shaws of Sunset next week. It starts Sunday here in the U.S., so that's kind of going to replace the Real Housewives of Atlanta in our lineup. Can't wait for the Shaws to come out. There's a lot of other shows coming as well, so it seems like we're now out of like the pandemic filming, and now we're going to be like hitting the normal stride of shows. So Family Karma comes out at the beginning of June in just a couple of weeks as well. So we were huge fans of that, and we're excited to see it back. Real quickly as well, if you could take time to rate and review us. Our artwork has changed back to old stuff because of this weird the podcast app update. So I'm fighting with Apple at the moment. We'll get it all looking back to normal, but still drop us a review there.
Please subscribe, rate and review TV My Husband Hates wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at TV My Husband Hates and join the Facebook group to keep the conversation going when the podcast ends. If Twitter's your thing, you'll find us at TV Husbands Hate. Theme music and production for TV My Husband Hates by Jimmy Sims.